Welcome to Dakota Starry Nights and another adventure here in the open spaces of western South Dakota. And as you can see from the distance here, it's like that all the way around us. Pretty amazing sight. Now tonight we're going to try a couple of different things. And one, the primary mission for tonight is to use this Hubble Optics UL 16-inch diameter Dobsonian telescope f4.5 with night vision. And what that means is we're going to take a 55mm Teleview Plossel and connect it to this PBS 14 night vision monocular for about 33 power, somewhere in there. Real low power. Now for nebulosity, you want low powers of extended objects. You don't really need high power. We're going to be going deep, and I'm not kidding. I can tell you, I've tried it. It's pretty amazing. But if you want to know more about night vision, I got a link below here. Check it out. An introduction to night vision astronomy here on Dakota Starry Nights. I cover it in great detail. We're going to try for that comet that is in the area here now. You guys probably heard about it, Neowise. And we're going to try to see if we can't do some afocal photography. That's going to be our first mission. I'm excited. This is a fabulous place. The sun is probably going to be about another 30 minutes or so, maybe a little more before she goes down. But like I said, we'll try for that comet first. So what do you say we get going? To the Milky Way and beyond. Hey guys, the sun's been down now for about maybe 30 minutes or something like that, but I wanted you to listen. You hear that? You hear those coyotes? They're really kicking up a storm now that the sun's gone down. Wow. Yeah, that's why I turned this on, because I wanted you to hear it. It's still not dark enough. I'm waiting for it to get a little darker so that we can maybe get a shot at that comet Neowise. But I definitely wanted you to hear those coyotes. Hopefully they'll be like throughout the night. I've been out here before, and you know, sometimes they really kick up a storm. But anyway, I just thought that was pretty cool. I wanted to share that with you guys. As soon as the comet appears, I'll turn the camera back on. Hang in there. Okay guys, I spotted it and just now got visible, and I could see it in this panoptic. I got a 35mm panoptic, and I got to tell you, it's just amazing. The core looks like a star, real tight, and then a streaming halo trailing behind it and fanning out. I'm going to try using this Canon. This is a G12. They no longer make this, but I'll tell you, I've had pretty good luck with this for doing afocal stuff. So now this is without night vision. This is just straight up. It's still kind of light over there, so I'm sure it's going to get a little bit brighter. It's just now appeared, so do this. Let's see. Manual focus and infinity, we'll try that. Pretty freaking cool. There's two stars next to it. You see them like they're like, what is it, left and right of the comet. Two stars. Wow. This is the first time I've seen a comet through this Dob. Of course, I haven't had it all that long, you know, but still. And you don't get these things coming around the town that often. Okay, so Cygnus will be visible here pretty soon, and we'll go over there. There's several targets I want to show you guys. I'll be using this camera to image them. The camera is going to be adjusted in order to convey the visual experience, and not being used as astrophotography per se. In other words, like usually astrophotography, you know, you do a long exposure and, you know, you try to get as much detail. But in this case, the goal is to share what is the visual experience. So it'd be great if you could come here and look through the eyepiece, because to be honest with you, looking through the eyepiece is even better than looking at an image. Okay, well, we'll see you in a bit. Okay guys, decided to start off with a broadband target here, and we're looking at the Hercules star cluster. Pretty amazing, and I'm getting a lot of micrometeorites just shooting by. Just totally amazing. Anyway, check it out. It's at zenith, so I had to use the numbers in order to dial it in on the setting circles, because when you're trying to work it at zenith, it's really difficult to turn a knob. Normally I could just cherry pick this one right out because it's in the keystone, you know, so it's pretty easy to spot, but okay, so here we've got, well, let me adjust this a little bit. Okay, here we got the Fleming's triangular wisp. Now, it's a wispy area of the Veil Nebula, which is a supernova remnant, and it was discovered by Wilhelmina Fleming in 1904 while she was examining photographic plates at the Harvard Observatory. But, as the custom was in those days, the credit for the discovery went to the researcher's superior, and in this case it was Edward Charles Pickering, director of the observatory. So the more official name is Pickering's Triangle, but it was really Wilhelmina Fleming who discovered it, so, you know, that's kind of like a gyp that they gave it to him, but hey, you know, that's how it was back then. Okay, so now that we're in Cygnus, I'm going to wow, this place is so magical. Well, okay, so, you know, Fleming's Triangle is like just between the eastern and the western Veil Nebula, so I'm just going to push this down a little bit and pick up the western Veil, which is NGC 6960. Now, again, this is left over from a supernova. It was from a star that was 20 times more massive than the sun when it exploded, and they're thinking about 10 to 20,000 years ago, give or take. And but the remnants of that explosion have been expanding to cover an area it's like 3 degrees in diameter, which includes Wilhelmina Fleming's Triangle Wisp and the Eastern Veil, which we're going to go to next. So there it is there in night vision. Okay, so the Eastern Veil is NGC 6992. The Western Veil is like, you know, the summertime favorite and stuff. But I've always found that the NGC 6992, it shows more. It has more light. So, yeah, check it out. And, again, it's in night vision. All this stuff is within Cygnus. It's pretty amazing. So I'm going to move over to the Gamma Cygni Nebula, and it's also known as the Cygni region, or it has an IC designation of 1318. Now, it's a diffused emission nebula that can be seen around Cygni, which is the Gamma Cygni star in Cygnus. Okay, so the star is at the center of the Northern Cross, which makes up the heart of Cygnus, or the Swan, which is what that constellation is. And Cygni is approximately 1,800 light years from Earth, where the nebula is much farther away. This nebula we're looking at here, it's about 4,900 or 5,000 light years away, so it's a little bit misleading. It's kind of like the Veil Nebula has Cygni 52. There's a star that's predominant there in the Western Veil, and it is really not part of the Veil. And now there's still more stuff in Cygnus. It's just one cool constellation. And we're pretty lucky because right now it's up at zenith, pretty close to zenith. Not quite there yet, but I mean it's pretty high, so we're looking through less atmosphere, so these things are nice and crispy. It's NGC 7000. It's named after the continent because it's kind of like what it looks like. And so there it is there, and it's an emission nebula located close to Denham, the tail of the Swan in Cygnus, and it's the brightest star in Cygnus. And it covers an area more than 5 times the size of the full moon. It's really big. I can't get the whole thing in the eyepiece, and it's like something like 30-something power, something like that, and it still can't get it all in. Okay, let me move the scope here, move it over. It's dialing this in. I'm just looking at the setting circles here. I've got these analog setting circles, and they work pretty good for finding these targets. The Crescent Nebula now is where we're going to now in Cygnus. Let me get it. I know it's somewhere right in there. Look, the numbers. The numbers are not dead on, but they give you a ballpark, so, okay. All right, there it is. Okay. All right, so the Crescent is really typically not a visual target because it's very dim, and its designation is NGC 6888. Now, it's an emission nebula discovered by William Herschel in 1792, who also happened to be a musician. Now, here's the cool thing about this nebula. It is formed by a fast stellar wind produced by a nearby star that is colliding with and energizing the slower moving wind ejected by the same star when it became a red giant around 300,000 years ago. So now the result of all of this collision is a shell and 2 shock waves, one moving forward and one moving inward, that creates that crescent. Now that is just mind-boggling, I mean, it's like doing itself, both different ways, and, 300,000 years ago, oh man, this is what I love about this astronomy. It's this mind-blowing stuff, it really kind of bends your noodle, you know what I'm saying? So all of these targets were just in Cygnus. I mean, it's pretty amazing, right? I mean, I love Cygnus. It's such a great place to hang out. Okay, well guys, I think that the Sagittarius is up enough now, and we're going to be dialing this thing over to the Lagoon Nebula M8 and the Trifid Nebula. So hold on. Okay, here we have the Lagoon Nebula M8. Now this has got to be one of my most favorite target of mine for the summer. It's right up there with Orion's Nebula as far as I'm concerned. It is a really hot region of the sky. It's an emission nebula. It's a giant interstellar cloud of gas and dust, and it's 110 by 50 light years in size, and it's about 4,000 to 6,000 light years from Earth. So it's a star forming region. I mean, there are stars being born within this area. It's kind of like the Orion Nebula in terms of it. It's that kind of hot gaseous region of collapsing molecular clouds igniting into stars. A pretty cool area. You can also see it in a smaller scope too, because there's so much light there. Okay, so now I'm going to move over to the Trifid Nebula, and if you can find the Lagoon, then you'll find the Trifid, because they're real close to each other. They're not that hard to find. The Trifid is designated M20 and the Lagoon is M8. Now, the Trifid M20 was discovered by Charles Messier on June 5th, 1764. He did a lot of his discoveries in this hotel in Paris from his window. The guy only used a 4-inch refractors, I believe is what it was. Of course, he wasn't resolving these objects to the degree we are, and they certainly didn't understand them. He was just saying, these are not comets, so don't look at them, because comets were a bigger deal back then than they are today. You discovered one of those and you were like royalty. But anyway, back to the Trifid Nebula. It means divided into 3 lobes, and it really stands out. That division is dark nebulosity. It's an unusual piece of nebulosity because it has an open cluster of stars, an emission nebula, a reflection nebula, and dark nebulosity. We're getting a lot of nice contrast on that dark nebulosity with this night vision here tonight. Okay, I'm going to swing over to Omega Nebula, the Swan, also known as the Swan. It's M17. So let's see, we'll find that. We're dialing in here with these setting circles. I just use my phone app, and then with the phone, I'm able to get the azimuth and alt and just dial it in, and it's ballpark, but it gets you there. If you want to get the most updated version of this, check out the video. I'll have a link below here. Hubble Optics UL16 Making It Better. In there, I show how to make the setting circles for the Hubble Optics, but the principle is the same. It'll apply to any Dobsonian telescope. And guys, I tell you, it really saves a lot of time. Get your ballpark, so you still got to have some skill sets to find it, which is good, because, you know, that's what this is about, is learning the sky, but it really narrows it down for a guy. Okay, all right, well, here it is. Okay, M17. Okay, now this is 40 light years in diameter, okay, this Omega Nebula, and it has a total mass that's estimated to be about 800 solar masses. Okay, and it contains one of the brightest and most massive star-forming regions of our galaxy, which you could see, because, you know, I mean, look at that light. I mean, it's just really hot. A lot of action going on in there, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just amazing. Alright guys, that'll do it for this evening. Sure hope you enjoyed this tour of the night sky using night vision. I had a lot of fun out here, and I hope you enjoyed the video as well. If you like what you saw, then give us a thumbs up or give us a comment. Get the conversation going. That's how we all learn from each other, like I always say. So the comments are important because there's little tidbits a guy can get out of those comments, and you know, it kind of helps, because nobody knows it all, and anybody who tells you they do, they're full of baloney. I can tell you that. So until next time, thanks for tuning in to Dakota Starry Nights. Clear skies. Keep that puppy polar aligned.